Afternoon all, welcome to this week's offering on anything to do with eBay. What I am covering today is eBay returns, and I'll also chuck a little bit of eBay scammage in as well, because there's just been a couple of incidents recently that never really happened to me before. And, I'm going to show you how I dealt with it, because I considered these to be a bit of a scam as well. My name is James Smith and I run channel JR74. Please like, comment and subscribe. The channel is predominantly about reselling at the moment and just making a little bit of cash on the side. Basically a side hustle channel using eBay as its main form. Okay, let's get into this then. Returns. So with returns, they will happen. Okay, there's nothing you can do about it. Somebody has bought a product from you, and really this is protection of consumer rights. If the shoes don't fit or if the product doesn't fit, then they will be returned to you, saying with a little message just saying, sorry, it's not quite there. This has to be there. All right, this system has to be in place. There's nothing you can do about it. There are things that you can do to maybe stop it from happening or reduce its occurrence of happening. Sorry, stop it from happening is the wrong thing to say. Yeah, reduce the occurrence. And I'll cover that later on in the video. But I know that when you get the message saying so-and-so wants to return your product, you do think to yourself, because you've got to go through the stuff of, paying them back, etc., etc. But it's going to happen. Now, with what I normally sell, which is shoes and clothing, it certainly happens more with shoes. Even though manufacturers do their very best to keep conformity within their shoes, in sort of like, say if somebody is a size 6 in Adidas, then they know what that size is, and usually that works, and it works quite well. But there are different like widths, different designs of shoes, and sometimes it just doesn't work and it just doesn't fit. I did have a pair of Nikes recently that were slightly higher in the heel. Okay, they weren't a boot and they weren't really a trainer. They were like a mid heel, and the buyer, it just didn't like it. She said it didn't fit well on her ankle. So really, my feedback from that is, to me, maybe don't get trainers like that anymore. The ones that aren't the boot, that are between like a trainer and a boot, the mids. Yeah, may not get those anymore. But the eBay return system isn't really, I can't see how they could do it any differently in terms of trying to support the buyer and at the same time trying to support the seller. If the buyer wants to raise a return, they click the raise the return. Okay, the seller then is informed of their intention. Okay, now at this stage, when you get the first message saying so-and-so wants to return, what I normally do then is I will message the buyer and say something along the lines of, "Oh, so sorry that I didn't fit," or something along those lines. As soon as I receive the product back, I will initiate a refund. Okay, that's what happens. All right, the process is, and eBay will explain this process, the buyer returns the product to you, you check the product, and if you are happy that the product is the same as how it went out, you then initiate the refund. And you've got like a time frame to do this in. The buyer has got a time frame to return the parcel in, and you have a time frame to initiate the refund. Okay, that's good. It's not asking you to refund before you receive the product back. Okay, which is a good way of doing it. I can't really see any other way of this happening. So I always encourage my buyers to use the eBay process. Say like if somebody's messaged me, not going through the eBay process, not raising a refund request through eBay, I will then message them back. Say if they've just messaged me just saying, "Oh, these trainers don't fit, can I have a refund?" I will then message them back saying, "Please, can you go through the eBay refund policy or the eBay refund system?" And I'll say to them, click on the product, you'll see that it raises a return request and click on that, and then that starts off the process. I'd much rather do it that way. Some people are like saying, yeah, but then eBay take a cut. eBay will then not give me all my money back. They're right, they don't. And it does annoy me a little bit, but again, they're using their system to do a transaction so that, you know, with any bank, with any system, that does create a fee. It's frustrating, very frustrating, because you think it's a computer. You don't need to pay a computer, but no, it's with any system now, that's what happens. But if somebody is totally reluctant to do it, then you can actually say to them, and I have done this in the past, right, return it to me, and as soon as I get it, I will then set up a bank transfer to, you know, pay you back. It's not as good, that one, because then the buyer has to trust that you will do it. Okay, so really, using the eBay system, there's trust all round. So I do find that that's a better way of doing it. Yeah, use the messenger. I find that's a great way of interacting with the buyer, with myself as a seller, because what it does is it puts a bit of confidence in the buyer that the refund is going to work and they're going to get their money back, as long as they put it into the postage system. And I'll get it, and then as soon as I get it, I do click the refund. Because eBay's on mobile phones, and this is a bit where you really do need the eBay app on your mobile phone, because as soon as, say if it's a pair of trainers, as soon as they're back, I just get my phone out, click on it, and then just initiate the refund. It takes less than 10 seconds. Okay, and it's so easy to do. I don't have to log into my PC or anything like that. It's just bang, there, done. That's good. All right, that's good. Because really what you're aiming for is for the buyer to place a comment on your shop saying, yeah, I got a pair of shoes from this bloke, but they didn't fit. But the refund process was really, really smooth, and I got my money. Very happy with the whole way in which this seller dealt with the refund process. That's what you want. In all the refund process, that is what you are aiming for. I don't ask for it. I don't like say to them, oh, you know, so I'm going to pay you back. Please, can you put a positive comment on that? No, I'm not going to do that. It's got to come from within. It's got to come from the buyer actually thinking to themselves, no, that was quite easy. Yeah, I've got my money back now. Yeah, I'll make a little comment. Thank you, mate. And also, if it goes well, if it goes smoothly, then you have developed confidence in that buyer, and maybe they'll get something else from you. One big question about the refund process is to do with postage, where the buyer who has got a pair of shoes that doesn't fit has got to post them back. That's going to cost money. And I don't, eBay have this separate. You can raise the refund process, but then to actually get the label, you've got to do that separately on their system. And then you can print the label out and stick it on. Now, if there's any messages between myself and the buyer, I will make them aware that this is what they have to do. But the amount of people that don't do it, the amount of people that just find the address that I have for where it's sent from, and then just raise a label, stick that label on, take it down to the post office or to Yodel or whoever they're sending it back with, and then pay for it themselves. That's their choice. I do make them aware that they've got to raise it through, or they can raise it through eBay and have it paid for through eBay. If you look every month, you get a financial breakdown of all of your sales, and part of that financial breakdown will be refund postage labels. Okay, not refund costs themselves. The refund cost and the refund postage labels are two separate things. So yeah, be aware of that. Be aware of it. Very, very rarely I will refund immediately. Those sort of circumstances occur when, I have had one recently, when I sent a pair of shoes and I stated on my listing the wrong size. That's my fault, totally my fault. Now, I'm not a robot, okay, and this is again something that you do have to understand. You do need to put a quality control process in place, all right? You do need to you know, obviously try and get the right size on the shoe. But in this case, I don't know how it happened, but you know, I'm listing quite a lot of stuff, but these were a size 5.5 and I listed them as a size 7, and the person didn't realise. And they only realised after they had made the purchase and I'd already sent the trainers. They tried to cancel the order. I said, look, I'm sorry, I can't do that, but I do understand that this is totally my fault. So I refunded there and then immediately. It's important that you do that as well. If you've messed up, if you've made a mess up, which will happen, all right, it will happen with all the will in the world. As I said, we are human beings, we are not robots. Mistakes will happen. So very rarely, mind you, very rarely, I think that's the first time that actually I've ever done that in 3 years of doing this. But yeah, I was kicking myself a little bit, but hey, you know, it's something that you've got to do. So, you know, be aware of that one as well. You can refund immediately. And I also do that if, say, like the shoes. No, I wouldn't. It's just when it's obvious that I've made a total and utter mistake, and I'll talk about this in a minute. Now, I did mention earlier in the video, you know, if you're having a lot of refund requests, is there anything that you can do? Yes, there is. Okay, with shoes, this is difficult, and this is why most of my return requests are with shoes and not clothes. With clothes, you have to give the measurements. So many people put clothes, you see it, so many people put clothes onto eBay or Vinted or whatever and just have it as a size from that manufacturer, say like Adidas medium golf polo shirt. I'm telling you now, the Adidas mediums, they're different sizes. So just because you fit into one Adidas medium doesn't mean that you're going to fit into another one, okay? You have to give the measurements. And the two main measurements that I give are pit to pit, so going across from armpit to armpit, and then top to bottom, which is the bottom. If there's a collar, like this jumper's got a collar, okay, I will measure from the bottom of this collar to the bottom of the garment, because then, you know, you can't, you know, all jumpers, all t-shirts will have the same sort of measurement. Those two measurements will be the same no matter what the jumper is, no matter what the t-shirt is. So yeah, and the language that I use, and I'll actually put this down below as well so you can cut and paste it if you like. It goes like this. I'm going to read out to you now how or what I would put in the description, and I'm using the example here of a golf jumper that I have recently put on. It says, "Thank you for looking at this product and please feel free to make an offer." Remember, this is in the description, okay? I'll always consider realistic offers, realistic being in brackets, as I believe this is part of the eBay experience when reselling. You can see the measurement sizing that the manufacturers have given in the title and the photographs, small, medium, large, etc. That's in brackets. However, I understand that these can sometimes not be that accurate or leave you feeling that you do not have enough information about the size. Therefore, I like to give actual measurements so you can compare against a jumper / top / cardigan / hoodie that you own that fits you. And then I go on, armpit to armpit measurement when the jumper, top, cardigan, hoodie is laid out flat and everything is fastened. Then I give it in inches and centimetres, okay? And then top to bottom measurement, not including the collar, so it can be compared against a crew neck, and I give the inches and the centimetres again. Hope this helps. Again, thanks for looking, James. Right, this is in a template, all right? And all you've got to do, therefore, is just change the numbers with, and this is for a jumper, where are we? A jumper, a top, a cardigan, or a hoodie. Okay, so I have the same sort of listing for each, or the same sort of description for each and every one of those. As I said, I'll put that text in the description below this video, but that's how I do it. Okay, and I don't get many returns from clothing. Okay, because that really does, it encourages somebody to say, right, okay, something that fits me nicely, I'll lay it out, I'll measure it, and we'll go from there. That puts confidence into the buyers that the product that they are getting is of the size that they require, because the main reason that somebody's going to send something back is if it doesn't fit. So yeah, that's important. And if you do that, the amount of reductions, or sorry, the amount of returns that you will get from clothing will not inevitably, I can't make statements like that, can I? But I'm strongly confident that the amount of returns that you will have to deal with if you sell clothing will reduce if you do this. It's just a template that you need to set up. It doesn't take long at all. All right, you don't have to type out that each and every time. Now, I also said at the start of the video that I was going to talk about scams as well. And there's two incidents that spring to mind recently, and they both happened very quickly. They both happened within a week of each other. Basically, I had a message saying that the product hadn't been delivered. Can I have a refund? So I'm like, right, the first thing that I do is I check the delivery, because this is quite rare. Most products that you send out do get delivered. So I check the eBay, and I see them, because you can go into tracking, and I can then see if it's been delivered or not. If it hasn't been delivered, then I will message them back saying, right, sorry about this, there seems to be a delay in delivery. And I always say, look, give it another couple of days, and if it doesn't come by then, message me back. Maybe I'll say, like, if it hasn't come, if it's on a Thursday, I'll say, look, if it hasn't come over the weekend, message me back, and we'll, obviously then there's probably a problem with it. However, recently I've had two instances where the product has been delivered, and it shows that it's been delivered on eBay. So what I do in these situations is I'll message the buyer back saying, look, really sorry, but there's nothing I can do from my end because it's showing as being delivered. And I will actually attach evidence saying that it has been delivered as well. So that's literally, they've sort of, it's a game of tennis. They've served the ball to you, you've hit it back to them, okay? And what you're doing then is you're waiting for them to hit it back to you, okay? And in both these instances where somebody messaged me saying that it hasn't been delivered, and I could see that it had, by me messaging them back and saying, look, there's not really a lot I can do, eBay is showing that it's been delivered, I heard absolutely nothing after that. So I think it was a little bit of fishing going on for somebody trying to get money back for the product. You know, so there's a little bit of dishonesty there. eBay works on honesty, okay? It assumes honesty. You can't really factor in any deviousness into any computer system. So yeah, that's what it operates on. But yeah, look out for that, and don't feel intimidated by it. Remember, it's just a game of tennis. Okay, so if they've served you something, you can hit it back if you feel that you don't have to do any sort of refund or anything like that. And it's interesting to see then if they actually do come back to you. And 9 times out of 10, they won't. Right, so there we go. That's my thoughts on returns and a little bit of scammage to be aware of. As I said, my name's James Smith. I run channel JR74. Please like, comment and subscribe. My video that I did last week, all about these new postage costs being introduced to eBay private sellers. So far, it's certainly the most commented on video, and I'm really liking reading the comments on that, and it's certainly going to generate another video. This is something that has hit a nerve with many people that sell on eBay. And I can understand it. Certainly people who have private accounts, I can understand, because eBay are basically saying, no, you've got to send your deliveries like this. And if there's one thing that many people in these situations who are just selling stuff just around the house don't like, is somebody telling them what to do. And eBay are they're being a little bit bossy. And it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out. Right. That's enough of me waffling. All right, you don't need any more of it. In, On and Gone 46 is going to be coming out very, very soon. But for the time being, all right, take care. And this is Smithy out. It's been a pleasure. Bye-bye.